It's Rayman. I decided that I would talk about something different. I was going to talk about Rayman Legends, and the reason why is because I messed around with it just last night. I had the idea of streaming Mario Wonder initially for the entire night, so basically just trying to beat the game over the period of one stream. But I was talking to someone, I was doing a stream this morning, or last morning, and I was talking to them, and we were talking about Rayman, this game right here, and we were like, this is a really good game, and maybe I should do that for stream. So that's exactly what I did. And considering this is fresh in my memory, I decided that I was going to talk about this game and talk about how my aspect on it has changed from when I first played this game as a teenager. My introduction to the Rayman games actually wasn't with Rayman Legends. It wasn't on the Wii U, or wasn't with this. You probably would think so. I am 20 years old. That's the kind of age group that would have played this game. But I actually grew up playing Rayman Origins. And yet again, not in the way that you would expect. You would think that I would have played this game maybe on the PlayStation or the Nintendo Wii. The worst way possible. My introduction to the Rayman series as a whole was right here with Rayman Origins on the Nintendo 3DS. You might be wondering, how does this game look on the system? The camera doesn't pick it up awfully well, but oh my goodness, it does not look amazing. Did you expect anything else? It's not a bad looking kind of game on the system. It's just not it just doesn't look good. Like, you can tell that it wasn't made for this device. But it was pretty cool having a little portable version. Later on in about 2021 or 22, I decided to get this game. And I thought maybe it will be better, maybe whatever. I just wanted to try a Rayman game again. I fell in love with this game so quick. Like, at the time, this kind of level design for a game was perfect. Exactly what I wanted, exactly what I loved. It was just everything that I could have ever dreamed of. Like, it actually did feel that way. I thought level design was fantastic. The way that you play this game was fantastic. I thought that just every aspect of this game was fantastic. So I played it last night, as I already said, and I had a bit of a different take on it. I don't think this is as fantastic as initially, I had thought when I was a kid, and I just wanted to talk about the parts that I didn't really find as great about this game now compared to back then. But before we do, we may as well get into what I found positive about the experience. There were a few things that I found quite good. So for starters, the art style in these games have always been amazing. It just looked nice. It just looked lovely. It looked so warm. It was so bright and colourful. It was like watching a ginger pale video. It was really cool. The art style is just so warm and inviting and vibey and so unique compared to anything that I have personally played. I usually play Mario games and stuff like that, so just having a game like this was such a nice, it's a nice change of pace artistically, I'll say that much. The music is phenomenal, as always. I don't think these games ever really have bad music. My favorite, of course, is Rayman Origins. I think it's always going to be Rayman Origins, but this game has such phenomenal music, and even those levels where you have to jump to the beat and stuff like that, they are phenomenal. They are so good at them, and there's actually some really interesting songs in there too. I was going through one of them and I was wondering what one of the songs was that was being played, and it turned out that the song that was being played was a song called Woohoo from 5678. It's a 90s song, and it's a single from them, and it's a one-hit wonder, and it was really fun. It was really cool to see. And another one that they did, for whatever reason, they got Eye of the Tiger. I don't know how, don't ask me how, but somehow they were able to get Eye of the Tiger for one of the rhythm things for this song, for this game, and it was amazing. It was so cool. It was just, I don't know how to describe it. It was just great. Man, the levels in this game can be amazing. I used to, when I was younger, absolutely love that style of gameplay where you are running through this level at top speed and there's an unexpected obstacle that goes in your way, and you have to keep going and going and going and going until you finally figure it out, and then by the time you figure it out, there's another obstacle in your path like 2 seconds later that you have to try and overcome it. And I used to love that so much, and I think it was fun in some aspects, but I didn't exactly love it like I used to. There are certain levels that I found to be kind of more so annoying. Like one of the last ones, where you're pretty much trying to press A lot of the time running through this maze. I'll put it up on the screen right now, but I've gone through this level a good number of times and I didn't really have an awful lot of fun while doing it. There's a level with a dragon where you're underwater. I wasn't a huge fan of that one as much as I used to be. Of course, there were levels that were great and I absolutely loved. There are those ones where you have to try and speed run your way through them in about 40 seconds. And those are really fun. My favorite one ended up being the one with the butter, because that one was it was just great. It's fun just going through this level and you're just jumping through, and I found a couple of like faster routes to get there too. Like those kind of levels are a lot of fun, but they can be annoying. I found some of them to be annoying, most specifically the water ones where you are going through water, and the air ones where you're trying to go across air. They were really difficult to get in the right amount of time, and I wasn't really in a mood to go through them at full speed and actually run my way through them. So I didn't really have an awful lot of fun with those. But other ones like that butter one, like I had said, I think there was an air one that I actually did try, and I actually had a lot of fun with it. But for the most part, like, they were pretty 50-50, those levels. The levels were, at the very least, they were very creative. Even if I wasn't a huge fan of them, you can say a lot more than what you were able to say about New Super Mario Bros., where it was kind of just like, yeah, these levels are boring and forgettable. And the most interesting one was everything is big. That's New Super Mario Bros. This game, even if I didn't really like a level, had some really great creative ideas. You go tiny and inside apples, and there's teensies that you have to save inside these apples. You have to eat cake to be able to progress through the level at certain times. The one with the underwater and the light beams were pretty cool, that shot lasers if you went on them. Even in the first world, there are some great ideas. Even if you don't like a level in this game, they are very creative levels. You have to admit that. Worst levels in this game, the ones that I go to kind of really dislike, have become the Murphy's Touch levels. I tried it on the Nintendo Wii U. I got a Wii U this year. Don't laugh. I know I did, but please don't. And mine came with a copy of Rayman Legends, the original copy of Rayman Legends. And I was going through it, and what I really do not like about it, and what really put me off, were the Murphy's Touch levels on the Nintendo Wii U. Like, yeah, they were made for it, and it does work better, I guess, but it makes it so slow. The gameplay is incredibly slow now when you play it on the Nintendo Wii U. Playing it on this, so much better. You just need to go in a certain area, he will hover towards it, you just got to press the A button, you're all good, you don't have to worry about anything else. It's beautiful, it's lovely, but it's still annoying. There are some times where I didn't even need Murphy. It just felt pointless for him being there sometimes. And sometimes it was like, yeah, he was kind of in there for the sake of having him, you know, like they just wanted him to be doing something. You can't really say that though, because they did make good use of it without it seeming like they were just shoving him in. But it doesn't matter how they implement Murphy in the levels, I'm still not going to like the Murphy levels, and I'm still not going to like Murphy. I'm so dude. This game had some really, really cool boss fights. I actually thought the boss fights were really cool and really fun in this game. There were some really unique ones, and some of them could have been a bit of a sludge, you know, to go through. A couple of them were just simple, yeah, just jump on his head. But they still did it in a pretty interesting way. Like, of course, the big macho Mexican guy, for example, was pretty unique, because you yeah, you're jumping on his head, but it still did it differently to how Mario does it. It was still unique. It wasn't just bop on his head. You had to like full on push punch him in the head 3 times, avoiding the obstacles, getting on a little, jumpy thing that boosts you up to be able to go on it. Like, it was different and it was unique, and it was still quite interesting. But a lot of boss fights were much more interesting than that. Like, you do have the one where the last one was pretty cool. Just trying to slow him down was pretty fun. And this is one of the instances where I looked at the boss fight and I was like, you know what, I actually don't like, normally I go through boss fights in games and I don't really like them. I would rather avoid them at all costs if I have to. This game, I wasn't happy to do them exactly, but I didn't mind doing them because at least they were really fun and creative, and they were actually pretty cool. Of course, they follow the same kind of format, like Mario has jumping on his head, and this game had a lot of throwing punches at enemies. That was kind of its version of a Mario head bop. But I mean, music infinitely cooler. The gameplay infinitely cooler. Like, it was just infinitely cooler in every aspect compared to Mario, even if it followed the same kind of format. The little collectibles that you get in this game were more fun to go for and collect than in Mario games. Like, they really were. I liked finding the little secret doors that found to obstacles to get to Teensies. They were actually quite fun. And I was actually pretty okay with the little mazes where you had to shift it around to get to the Teensy. That was actually pretty fun as well, and I quite liked that. It's just a more enjoyable time here than what we got with Mario, of course. My favorite level that I got was the one where you could go through any little point and kind of maze your way through the level. I know that I said that I hated the Boo Mansion for doing that, but I like this game for how it did it. It just did it in a much more interesting way, and it was cool and felt rewarding to find little rewards in there, and it was cool going your way through, trying to find your way and figuring it out as you go. I had a really fun time doing that. Really enjoyed it. Thought it was incredibly fun. That was my favorite level, and that's the most memorable level in the whole game. I don't know if it was because I was tired or what, but like I had said though, despite all these things that I said, I did not have as much fun as I thought I was going to have, and I didn't straight up love it. There were a lot of times where I said, oh, I love this game, and yeah, I loved it in those specific instances, but for the most part, I wasn't really having the greatest, fun going through it. But I feel like that might have just been because my memory from it was different from when I was a kid. I might have been a bit disappointed that, it wasn't how I remembered it being. It's still a great game. Like, I think it's a great game. It's really fun. Pairing it, this experience to when I was a kid, I had more fun then. I just liked more of it, and I was more in the mood for it than what I was this playthrough. Oh, you know what I really hate in video games, specifically 2D video games, is that's what these pop up in a lot, is the fact that you have to have a certain amount of things to be able to get further into the level. I hate it when games do that. Hated Mario games for doing that. I don't like this game for doing that either. You had to get a certain amount of teensies in order to progress through the level in this game, and I accidentally skipped one of the photo frames, went to the next one instead. I had to get 260 teensies and I had about 150, so I had to just go through some levels again, and I had to do some of the fast levels, and I had to do all these things just to get enough. And that took like an hour or 2 hours just to be able to go through that whole thing. And the whole time I didn't want to do it. I do not like games that make you have to do stuff like that in order to progress in the game. I just want to progress through a game. I don't want to have to worry about how many things I'm collecting, how many stars, how many coins, how many whatevers I'm collecting. I just want to go through the game. But no, this game fell into that trap of doing exactly that, and I didn't like it for that. Another thing that I didn't like about this game, the lucky scratchy thingies were alright, but I have no idea what a creature is. I have no idea what a creature does. Why am I getting it like 60% of the time? I felt like I was getting it more than I wasn't. When there were more important things there to win. Like, I would have loved to get some more Lumas. Like, that would have been Lums. They're called Lums. I would have loved to get some more Lums. I would have loved to have more Back to Origins levels. I would have settled for Teensies. Teensies were really helpful. But no, they give you like creatures most of the time. I feel like I was pulling them up more than I wasn't. I don't like creatures and I don't care for creatures, so I don't know why, I was getting them a majority of the time. It was kind of annoying me. But I think my favorite photo frame section was the second last one. So basically, 20,000 Lums, I would say, was my favorite one. I just liked the whole secret mission James Bondy kind of thing that it had going for it, where you had to try and sneak your way through. Like, that was a lot of fun. I actually had a good time with that. Once I actually got through it, that became my favorite. But the food fiesta one was also really cool, really creative. I liked the food aspect of it. Another kind of level that I didn't like were the ones with the chicken. You get turned into a chicken at one point, and you have to go through the game as a chicken. And I don't like that. I didn't really like it very much. I liked the ones where you go tiny and go big. They were really cool. The chicken ones were kind of similar, but they were just worse. I didn't like them as much. And it's so much faster than I thought that it was going to end. Like, so much faster. I thought that I had one more little photo frame thing left to go, and I went through the final boss not knowing that it was the final boss, and then I did it and I beat it, and then the credits started rolling, and I was speechless. I did not know what to say. And you can even see that when you look back at the VOD. That's exactly what happened. I just didn't know what to do. So the game is so much shorter than I thought it was going to be. I beat it in like 5 hours and 30 minutes or something like that, when normally I'm doing it in about 6 hours. So I'm not complaining, but it was a shorter game than what I had thought it was going to be. I would have liked it to be a bit longer, but I also would have liked if there was just more in it instead of making you go through all the collectibles and stuff like that. Maybe add a couple more photo frames and that kind of thing, more levels instead, because I'm not really willing to go through this game again just to get all the teensies to be able to progress or 100% the game. I went through this game, I enjoyed it, and that's all I'm really going to do. But at the end of the day, I think this is an absolute, this is a huge recommendation. This is great, and I highly recommend it. I think this is a really great game. I think that this is something that people should be playing. If you haven't played it yet, absolutely go ahead and play it. There's not much better than this in a good way. I don't know what else to say.